Pablo Picasso, Van Gogh, Mozart, or maybe even Beethoven. Many of us are very familiar with these artists, and we've probably learned about them all through our childhood. We know about their creativity, and they are very well known in the art world. I remember myself making, remaking a Starry Night painting just like Van Gogh's, or maybe at the same time even learning weird facts like that he cut off his ear. And now, since I've had the privilege to participate in art and music classes during my childhood, today I will be claiming that an education in the arts is extremely important to have a complete education. I will be discussing how arts promote activity in the brain, how it increases academic success, and how class time devoted to arts has been decreasing, which is really sad. Now, first I'll be discussing how an education in the arts promotes activity in the brain. Now, according to Celeste Carnero, a professor of course creativity in the brain, most people are accustomed to using the left side of the brain, the left hemisphere. We are usually thinking logically or in a linear sequence, and we never involve any emotions or intuitions or creativity. So basically when we use our left hemisphere, we are leaving out our right side benefits. And now when we draw, for example, if any of you are doodlers, this is good, because this makes us use our right side of the brain. So when we're doodling, we are taking in information. Let's say if you're listening to a lecture, and then you make it kind of more fun, I guess. If you're taking in the information, but at the same time, since you're doodling, you can make it, you can make the balance of the hemispheres equal. And also, in an article by Ellen Booth Church, an involvement in the arts strengthens synapses in the brain. So have any of you ever heard of when you're born, you usually have all the synapses present that you can learn all the languages in the world? Well, it's kind of the same thing with the arts. So when you use your drawing synapses, I guess, or those synapses in the arts, you strengthen those and you build on those synapses. So they have to be used, though, just as when you're a baby. If you don't use the language, let's say you learn Chinese, well, you can't really learn, let's say, Arabic if you don't use those synapses. Like some people can't, or also like with Spanish, some people can't roll their R's because they just haven't ever rolled them before. And so when doing this, you really have to start it at a young age. So that's why arts should also be implemented in childhood education. So now that you kind of know how the arts stimulate the brain, we can take a look at the second effect that an involvement in arts has on us. So basically, an involvement in arts increases academic success. It makes you develop a critical thinking mind. For example, with the SATs. In a study done by Pam Stevens, who is a coordinator in art education at the Northern Arizona University, in comparison to non-arts peers, students who took music history or appreciation scored an average of 63 points higher on the verbal SATs and 41 points higher on the math portion of the SATs. So the same kind of applied with people who took arts, other arts education, studio, or drama. It really increased the SAT scores, and also, in addition to that, it really has a direct link to math when you do art. For example, when you are drawing, you often have to use measurements, or you're using geometric shapes. Now, problem-solving skills are also involved when you do that. And so, when you think about it, you're kind of using math when you're drawing, because you can't have like a huge head on a little body or something like that. And that kind of shows you how arts help SAT scores and test-taking skills. Now, it also helps people who, let's say, are having trouble with another language. Now, in a study of 5th grade students in a Texas school, there were many who were at risk of failing. And what the teacher decided to do is she decided to make them look at master works of art and interpret those paintings. Now, what happened with that was that they kind of what happened was that they grasped concepts of fact and opinion, and not only that, but it also helped them read works of art. So it kind of translated to reading literature. When you read literature, you're analyzing like what the theme is or what rhetorical devices are being used. Now that you can kind of see how academic success can be improved with an education in the arts, we can discuss the final and probably the most important point. Now, class time devoted to the arts has been decreasing over the years. Now, most Americans probably agree that it is important, and that is true according to the June 2005 Harris Report. 89% of Americans believe that arts are important to be taught in schools. Now, 79% also feel that schools do not provide enough art in schools. And a huge percent, 93%, consider it essential to have a well-rounded education. Now, even though people think it's extremely necessary, which it is, the class time devoted to the arts has decreased. And one of the reasons for that is to increase test scores. Now, I think this is like totally the wrong way to go with it, because having arts actually improves your test scores. So by taking it out, I think we were probably hurting ourselves. And what they say is, like, with the budget cuts is another reason why the arts have been decreased. Now, they say, yes, it's lovely to have arts, to be able to have music and stuff like that, but it's not essential. What we need is math or reading, vocabulary, things like that. Now, according to Fran Smith, who is the editor of Edutopia magazine, in 2008, 16% of districts of elementary schools reduced art time, and of those 16%, they reduced art time by 35%, which would be about 57 minutes a week, which an hour might not seem like a long time, but eventually it probably does add up. And in California, participation in musical courses has also decreased by 46% from 2000 to 2004. And while the participation in music decreased, the enrollment in school actually increased by 6%. Now, we're kind of lucky here at Fullerton College because we get to, well, we're required to take at least one art class, which I think is really beneficial to us because it really does help with our critical thinking skills and analyzing arts, and it just all translates to all other academic areas. So today I've talked about the importance of an art education, how it stimulates the brain, how it improves academic success, and how class time, unfortunately, has been decreasing. Now, the arts are very essential, and by doing things such as decreasing time in the classroom for arts, we really are hurting ourselves in the end, because it does increase other academic areas, or success in other academic areas. So when you're sitting down in class, don't be afraid to doodle. It's really good for you. I myself am a doodler. I do it all the time, but I've never really had an issue with it. I guess I never really realized it improved my test scores until now that I did my research.